Yulin Dog Festival, Hell on Earth exposed, 135 dogs destined to die. Undercover activists captured the heart-wrenching scenes as the world counts down to the most infamous animal welfare horror show on the planet. Mobile phone pictures show terrified dogs huddled together in a squalid room with traces of blood from earlier slaughtering staining the floor. One dog was seen being clubbed repeatedly over the head, its cries of anguish ringing out inside the room to leave other animals cowering in fear. The horrifying images were released by Humane Society International 48 hours before the notorious midsummer Yulin dog-eating festival begins in China's Guangxi Autonomous Region, a nightmare carnival of carnage that will see thousands of cats and dogs killed. One of the Chinese activists says he will be haunted for months by what he witnessed at a slaughterhouse that kills up to 50 dogs a day. Known as Alan, he told HSI, "What I saw will haunt me for months. I have never seen dogs so scared like these ones. I truly do not understand how the slaughterhouse workers could be so blind to the frightened looks of the dogs waiting for their turn." Most of them were small-sized dogs, typical pet dogs, and they were terrified because they had seen the killing of probably 50 dogs that morning. They were friendly but very confused, and all of them were emaciated due to food and water deprivation. The slaughterhouse was utterly filthy, the floor covered in blood and feces, and the air oppressively offensive. The sights and sounds of slaughter also left a heavy weight on the activists. There were dogs with their skins blow-torched to a crisp brown along with the gruesome paraphernalia used to kill and butcher the animals. The noise of that slaughterhouse stuck in our brain long after we'd left, the wailing of the dogs, the roar of the blowtorch, the thundering of the deherring machine while dogs huddled together in fear, added Alan. We were so anxious to get the dogs away from that hellish place. What will give animal lovers around the world belief that Yulin's dark days are numbered are the efforts being made to save the dogs, many of which are strays or cherished pets stolen from gardens. HSI says activists which it has worked with for many years, along with 2 other groups, managed to negotiate the release of 135 dogs from facilities in the suburbs of Yulin. The dogs were taken to a temporary shelter for food, water and emergency care, with 3 heavily pregnant animals having their puppies. Thank goodness those precious puppies were born into the world surrounded by love instead of in that room of death, added Alan. The mother dogs must have been especially anxious, and I like to think they knew they were finally safe to give birth at our shelter. The dogs are now being transported to permanent shelters in other parts of China, with 65 cared for at a HSI-supported center. Dr. Peter Li, HSI's China policy specialist, who is waiting at the shelter to receive the dogs, explained, HSI's shelter project has excellent facilities and can provide around-the-clock care, so we will be taking those dogs who require the most attention to get them back on their paws. Many of the dogs are suffering from malnutrition, shock and painful skin diseases, and they will likely be extremely fearful because they've received such brutal treatment and witnessed truly traumatizing scenes. Earlier this week, Humane Society International handed over a letter signed by more than 235,000 people calling for an end to the annual Yulin Dog Meat Festival, which is being forwarded to the Chinese regional governor. The letter was circulated by HSI and Care2 and supported by 87 Chinese animal protection groups, including Capital Animal Welfare Association, Zhejiang Animal Protection Association, and Hainan Small Animal Protection Association.